So adjustable mortgage lending led loan growth in April increasing 2.5%, and this is consistent with housing market data that shows a pickup in the housing market activity in April. Existing home sales increased 1.7% in April. New home sales increased 16.6% in April, and that's the highest since January of 1992. So clearly we see some improvement in the housing market, and it is reflected in the credit union mortgage lending. Following adjustable mortgage lending is home equity loans, which increased 2.1% from March to April. And my sense is that borrowers and lenders are now more confident that home prices are actually stable. And so there will be some sort of a wealth effect in terms of personal consumption expenditures in the months to come. And in fact, in April, personal consumption expenditures already increased 1%, or that's 12% on an annualized basis. The effect is not zero, but one thing we have to keep in mind is that the U.S. is a domestic based consumption economy. 70% of our GDP is actually personal consumption spending. And so if there is going to be any weaknesses in demand outside of the United States, it's not going to affect us that much. The financial sector, however, is affected by these weaknesses in Brazil, Puerto Rico, primarily because of financial flows. But on the whole, in terms of trade, it's not going to affect the U.S. economy that much because trade is not a huge portion of our GDP. If you add more regulatory burden on the back of industries when the economic environment is actually weak, then it will weigh on innovation, and hence you will get low economic growth. Tight regulatory environment, particularly in terms of economic regulations, those that affect prices and the dynamics of the market against the backdrop of weak economic environment is really not a good strategy. I mean, the United States can grow better than the current annual rate of 2 to 2.2%. If you think about it, it took a while for housing to pick up pace, and one of the reasons is because of regulatory burden. It has complicated how borrowers obtain and lenders provide financing in the mortgage loan application process. Every election year, we would always say, well, Congress, do something. Well, probably this election year, it's time to say, Congress, undo something. There are probably some regulations there that we could get rid of because we don't need them. We are no longer in 2008, 2009. And the lessons that we've learned from the financial crisis are actually lessons that we learned in a hard way, and it's going to stay with us for quite some time.